Everybody around me, my parents, my family, my girlfriend, friends, they all understood that that was my goal. I wanted to do $500,000 in commission. And I did. Hey guys, it's Andy Coleman, and I am going to do a video about how I changed careers in my 30s and started doing real estate. Basically, I'm going to go back to the very beginning of when I graduated high school. I graduated high school in 2004. I actually went to college, and it didn't really work out for me 100%. I only ended up getting a 2-year degree, and then I stopped before I was going to get my 4-year degree. And so I believe it's my associate's degree. That's what I have right now. And then I decided to go into business. So I wanted to start my own business and go that route. So I did that for a lot of years, probably about a decade of my life. I was doing my own business. I was only doing about $150,000 a year, and it was okay. You know, I was mildly happy with it. It was decent money back then. So then I ended up moving to California, and I tried a business venture down there. I had a couple partners. The whole thing fell apart, and maybe about a year later, I ended up moving back to Connecticut. So I had some money saved up, and I wanted to go into another business entirely. So one of my buddies in Florida reached out to me and said, hey, I got this company. I'm running trips to Cuba. Why don't you come down here? Why don't you see my operation, and maybe we can partner up? So I said, okay, that's a great idea. I go to Cuba, and let me tell you, Cuba was an amazing country, by the way. I think if anybody has the opportunity to go and check it out, definitely check it out. So I go to Cuba, I see his entire business operation. He's basically running guided trips to Cuba where he would take groups of people and he would show them around Cuba. So I was like, oh, this sounds great. Let me pack all my stuff and let me move down to Florida. I didn't have any real plan of what I was going to do except go into business with my buddy. So I came down here, and I don't know, for some reason, I just didn't want to do the Cuba business. So I was like, oh, you know, maybe this is not a good opportunity for me. Let me bide my time. Let me wait. Let me hang out, and let me see what comes up. I ended up doing some odd jobs. I believe I was actually working in a call center for Jordan Belfort's, one of Jordan Belfort's old partner of the Wolf of Wall Street. And that was kind of fun. I did that for a few months. I was never really good with working for other people in particular. You know, I kind of like to do my own thing. So that didn't really work out. And I was basically just partying, hanging out, you know, going to the gym, like tanning, kind of like the Jersey Shore lifestyle. That's what I was doing down here in South Florida. That went on for about maybe another 6 months or so after my whole call center thing. And then I started another operation in Massachusetts with one of my partners. You know, I had a whole entire team going. We're actually trying to get our recreational cannabis license to cultivate marijuana. We were actually applying to the state, and then from the state, we had to go to different towns and try to get our license approved by a town. So we were about to negotiate our host community agreement. You know, I was going up in front of like boards of selectmen, mayors, like city councils, like all of that kind of stuff, doing presentations. And we were going up for our host community agreement, which was going to basically give us our pre-license to apply to the state so we can open up a cultivation facility. So at the last second, our funding ended up falling through. We got voted 5-0 in our favor that yes, we were allowed to get the license. We passed. But our funding fell through. We needed a few $1 million, and it fell through at the last second. So at that point, I was like, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do now? I just wasted a bunch of money and probably close to a year of my life flying back and forth from Florida to Massachusetts. So then one of my other buddies told me to get into real estate. My buddy said he got his real estate license about a year ago, and this is one of my good friends down here in Florida. He had worked for like Remax, like Keller Williams, some mom and pop brokerage, and he wasn't making any money whatsoever. I honestly don't even think he did a single deal at all working for these other brokerages. Then he joined eXp Realty under Paul Saperstein. And I actually did an interview with him. I'll be dropping that podcast. Definitely stay tuned for that. So he joined up eXp Realty, and about 6 months went by of him doing real estate, and he was making a killing. He was making like $10,000 a month, and he was a brand new agent, you know, after failing miserably with Remax and a couple other brokerages. eXp really taught him everything that he needed, gave him that like family environment, and really motivated him and pushed him into doing well in real estate. So he came to me and said, why don't you get your license? I had another buddy who was like, it's a big mistake. We have hundreds of thousands of agents down here in Florida. Why is anybody gonna trust you to buy, sell, or rent them a place? You're brand new, you don't know anybody, you don't know anything. Why would anybody trust you? So I go and sign up for Gold Coast, which is a real estate school down here. It's super cheap. It was only like $500. It was like a month-and-a-half class, 63-hour class. I took the class test and I ended up passing, and then I took the state test, and again, I passed on my very first try. All you have to do is put in a little bit of effort, and I think you can pass your test pretty easy. I get my license, and then I go and do an interview with a couple brokers at eXp Realty. When I'm doing the interview, at this time I had been partying a lot, and I wasn't taking it 100% serious, but they liked my vibe, they liked my energy, and they were like, come on board, join eXp with us. So I said, great, fine, awesome. So I hung my license with eXp Realty under the Paul Saperstein team, and it's not necessarily a team, it's an unorganized team, or like a self-organized team, however you want to call that. So I don't actually pay any percentage to that team. If you join different teams in like Remax or Coldwell Banker, one of those brokerages, you might have to pay like 20, 30, 40% to your team leader, and then they hand you leads and stuff like that. For eXp, it doesn't really work that way. I mean, you could choose to make it work that way if the team leader is really taking like a mentorship role and giving you leads and helping you out. This was a self-organized team, so it was kind of like hands off, but more of like a family environment where you can ask questions and everything. And they wanted you to succeed, because the whole thing with eXp is anybody that joins under you, you get 3% of every deal they do, which I thought was really cool at the time, because the person that signs you up, they don't pay for it, I don't pay for it, the company does, which is really awesome. I start doing real estate back in October of 2019. I wasn't really doing much for my first couple months. I think all of October and all of November, I was just learning. I was taking my MLS classes, I was doing all like my MLS certification, learning like Supra, like how to open up lock boxes, how to set up searches, how to write contracts. I think I shadowed like a couple agents just to see how they did deals and how they did showings and talk to people, like things like that. I was hanging around the offices and just learning and picking up different things from different agents. So fast forward to December of 2019, about 2 months after I got my real estate license, I got to work. One of my buddies down there actually gave me this great idea. They were like, why don't you start trying to do rentals? So at this time, I'm brand new to real estate. It's a buyer's market in late 2019. So for me, I was like, great, I'll do rentals, right now. And then eventually my renters will turn into buyers. So I started doing rentals. I did any broker advertised properties. I would take up listings that I found on the MLS that I was allowed to advertise. I would put them up on Facebook Marketplace, and then I would have tenants, people that were looking for a property, reach out to me about that property. Then I would take them on a showing to go and see the property. Then if they liked the property, we would put an offer in. If they didn't like the property, I would set them up on my MLS, and then we would try to look for other properties. Eventually, I learned that the initial property I was advertising wasn't really the property the tenant that reached out to me was going to end up getting. So eventually, I stopped really caring about trying to rent that property that I was listing, and kind of used that as a tool to set them up on my MLS and get them as a client. This way, I would show them other properties, like a lot of other properties, maybe like, 50, 100 different properties that I would send them from the MLS. They would pick out a few that they liked, and then I would start showing them those properties in hopes they would like one of them. We'd put an offer in, and then I would get a deal done. So I was doing this all of December, and finally, at the very end of December, I got my first deal. I'll never forget this. It's Victoria and Luis. They were my first rental deal that I did. I think the commission was on the smaller side. It was like a $2,500 rental, but still, that was like a $1,250 commission check to me. It's half a month's rent commission. And at that time, I hadn't been making money, quite the opposite. I was actually spending a lot of money, partying and stuff and doing this business, that business, I wasn't making money. So for me, I got a $1,250 check. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And from that moment on, I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked to real estate. And then I started going really heavy into the rentals. So I started posting a ton of different listings. I think at one point I had probably over 100 listings up in my very first year. And I got overwhelmed with the amount of leads that were coming into me. there was so many leads that I was getting per day. I remember at one point I was probably getting around 200 leads per day, which is a ridiculous amount. I ended up getting overwhelmed and I wasn't actually getting to all of my leads and I wasn't taking it 100% serious. Maybe working about 6 hours a day, maybe working like 5, maybe 6 days a week. I would turn my phone off at 5 o'clock, nothing crazy. So about February of 2020, I ended up doing a showing for a very special person to me. This is my girlfriend now, so she was my future girlfriend that I did a showing for. This is going to be important later on. So I remember very specifically, the showing was in Miami and I lived in Boca. And that's a far distance to drive, but I didn't care. I thought she was beautiful. She reached out to me. She only wanted like a short-term rental. I wasn't really even focusing on short-term rentals, but I did it anyways. So I did a showing for her and we clicked and I asked her out on a date, maybe not the most professional. I didn't care. So I took her out on a date and basically we've been inseparable ever since. Now she lives with me. We're probably getting married soon. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her a little bit more because she's what really inspired me to take it to the next level. Start going out with her and I'm doing my real estate stuff. I'm posting my listings, I'm getting leads, I'm doing rentals. In my first year, I'm probably doing about, 1 to 5 deals per month. That's it. My average commission, probably around $800 per deal. I made about $80,000 in my first year of doing real estate. I was hanging out with her a lot. She owns her own business, so not as much as I would have liked. At that time, she was probably working more than me, definitely making more money than me. And then in year 2, I think this was in January of 2020, like right in the beginning of the year, I was in the shower with my girlfriend. Her name's Saba. Check her out too, Saba Ali. Go follow her on Instagram and she's making a YouTube channel as well. Anyways, I was in the shower with her and all of a sudden she looks at me and says, "You know what? I want you to make more money than me." And at first I got a little offended. I was like, wait a minute, I've been with this girl for a year and is she like just after me for money? Like what's going on? And no, that couldn't be further from the truth. Her whole thing was she didn't want to see me sitting at the pool or going to the beach at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. She didn't like that. She didn't want that. She wanted me to start like maximizing my true potential and start being the best version of myself that I could be. The very next day, I had a moment and I was like, you know what? She's right. I'm barely trying right now. I'm getting all these leads. I'm barely getting back to them. I'm not really focusing 100% on real estate. Why not? So the very next day I did. I changed everything and I went I would probably say, to be quite honest, I probably went 80% like focus on real estate. I started trying really, really hard, not like my fullest potential, but I started trying really, really hard. Okay. I started devoting probably around 12 hours a day. That's why I say, 80%, because me personally, I think if you're devoting 100% of your energy to something, that means you're working 16 hours a day doing it. At this point, I'm working about 12 hours a day doing real estate. I'm getting back to the majority of my leads now, and I'm doing a lot more work than I had the previous year. And this was in 2020, right when COVID hit, right when everything got really, really bad. 2020, I start really, really focusing right in the beginning of the year. And guess what? I ended up doing about 180 deals that year in 2020. And this is after my first year of real estate. I did 180 deals. Let that sink in for a second. I'm a brand new agent. I'm in year 2 and I did more deals in 1 year than most realtors do in 20 years. Okay. So this was me putting in the majority of my effort, but still not 100% effort. So year 2 was going really, really good. I made a little bit over $250,000 and I'm an icon agent for eXp Realty. Check my other video below. I show you how you could actually make over 100% commission with eXp Realty. Anyways, so the whole entire year goes by. I get to I think it was October or November. It was right before I was about to go to the eXp Con conference in Las Vegas and I burn out. I hit a wall. I ended up it was too much work for me. Not even putting in 100%. It was too much. Working 12 hours a day, nonstop, 7 days a week. That ended up being too much for me. And I ended up burning out. In October and November, I kind of took a little bit of time off to where I wasn't really working that much. I went back to doing about 5-6 hours per day because I just needed a break. I needed a vacation. I needed some time off. I go to my eXp Con conference in Vegas. And it was amazing. For some reason, it just reinvigorated me and I got that itch again to start doing real estate. So I get back to Florida and the very next day I pick up right where I left off a month and a half ago. I did about $25,000 in December and this was 2020, right after I got back to real estate, and it just lit a fire under me again. I did my vision board for the end of the year. I always do it on New Year's time. And then my goal was I wanted to do $300,000 the very next year in 2022. January comes and I'm fired up and I start getting to every single lead that I have. I start focusing on it 100%. Now I'm working 16 hours per day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm fully focused on real estate. Something happened. I don't know what it was. Obviously, a year prior, I had my Saba moment where she inspired me to really get to work. But something happened after that Vegas conference, and it just put a different mentality in me. Maybe seeing those successful people like the Ricky Caruso and the Mike Sherrods up there, speaking on stage, it just lit a fire under me. I'm working 16 hours a day. I'm busting my butt right now. I'm getting to every single lead. I'm doing follow-ups now, and I never used to do follow-ups at all. And what I mean by follow-ups is I just reply to every single person from the day before. I reply to their text message, no matter who it is. It could be a listing agent, could be a new lead coming in, it could be an offer that I put in, whatever it may be. I'm just following up with every single person from the day before. And doing all of this in 2022, I did about 240 deals, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I was all alone. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have a VA. Nothing. No transaction coordinator. I was doing everything all by myself. And I managed to go the entire year, 2022, without burning out whatsoever. I ended up doing about $515,000 in commission that year, which ended up being obviously the best year of my life. I mean, I'd never made $500,000 before, and that felt amazing. I think what really motivated me and pushed me in 2022 was the fact that on my vision board, I had wrote, I want to make 300,000. I had gotten to that point probably 7 months, 6-7 months into 2022. And then I had a new goal in mind. I wanted to hit $500,000. And I realized that right around 6 or 7 months into the year, that was my goal. So the rest of the year, I buckled down and I just worked. That's all I did was work. Obviously, I still have my girlfriend and my social life, but I was kind of putting that in the back burner a little bit, and I was just focusing on real estate. That was my main focus, and everybody around me, my parents, my family, my girlfriend, friends, they all understood that that was my goal. I wanted to do $500,000 in commission, and I did. It was pretty awesome that I actually made it. It was really crazy because come December, I was like 40K off, and I ended up getting a house sale in December, and I hit my goal probably about a week or two before December ended, which was like, whew, oh my God, like I barely made my goal. If I hadn't hit $500,000 in that year, I don't know what I would have done, but it really propelled me into the next phase of my life, which I'm going to talk about now. My first 3 years was all about learning the business, mastering a niche, which ended up being rentals and a little bit of buyers, and really learning real estate. That was my goal, was to master real estate. I ended up doing close to 500 deals in the past 3 years. And for me, that's enough. That's enough deals for a lifetime of real estate. There was not much more I can learn doing rentals or purchases, listings. I had done so many in the past 3 years that now I wanted to give back. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's why I'm making these videos. And that's why I have a whole different mindset now where I want to go on stage and I want to speak to people. Come see me if you're with eXp Realty or just in the area in Orlando in May. I believe it's May 15th of 2023. If you're in the area, definitely come and check me out. I'm going to start doing speaking engagements, talking on podcasts. I might create my own podcast. I'm going to be doing interviews. I want to give back now, and I want to start teaching agents to do exactly what I did. I want to teach agents how they can make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000. Brand new real estate agent, brand new career, brand new state, brand new environment, brand new everything. You can still make that much money. You don't have to be a 20, 30-year veteran to make that kind of money in real estate. I proved that it's possible. Now, me personally, I think I'm the fastest growing realtor of all time. I've never heard of another realtor doing 250 deals after their second year, making $500,000 that fast. Maybe there's been realtors that have made that kind of money, but I don't think deal-wise, I don't think any agent has ever done that. I looked it up. I'm actually the the 45th ranked agent in the entire country. So for me to master something that fast, it just proves that it's possible that anybody can do it. And that's what you really have to believe, that if you try to do something and you don't succeed, you keep trying again and again and again until it works. That's what I learned. It was just trial and error. And I would keep going and going and going and going until I had a system that was smooth. I had a system that was organized. And then I had a system that motivated me into continuing to go and go and go and not get burnt out in 2022. So now in 2023, my goal is not to make $500,000 again or make more money than that. I'm happy with doing $250,000, which I know you might be thinking, that's a little bit crazy. You're not supposed to go back. I don't even care, because I realized you have to take one step back to take two steps forward. I can't do everything. There's gonna be times where I'm gonna need people to help me do certain tasks that I would do before, but now I have to delegate them to other people so I can free up time to do other things, like making these videos, focusing on building a team. So they're gonna help me out do my rental business, and all of my renters that are gonna turn into buyers, they're gonna help me out with those, because now I'm marketing to them on my CRM, and I'm gonna try to turn my 500 renters into buyers. And it's gonna be an interesting 2023 and 24 and 25, because as we switch over to a buyer's market, all of my renters, they're gonna wanna work with me again. Hopefully. I wanna start investing in properties. And again, having my real estate license and learning everything I've learned in real estate over the past 3 years, doing all of these deals, meeting all of these connections. I probably know thousands of realtors at this point. You know, I've met bankers, doctors, lawyers, plumbers. I mean, everybody that you could imagine I've worked with. So my network now is absolutely massive. So now when I want to start investing in properties, you know, and becoming a landlord myself, I have all this knowledge and wisdom and experience to do it. So the last 3 years really set me up really, really well to do everything I want to do moving forward. And that's the beauty of real estate, is it doesn't stop at buying, selling, or renting houses. You can do so much more. I would love for you guys to follow along on my journey. My last 3 years were spectacular. I had a blast doing real estate. It was a lot of fun. The money was great. Making the relationships was great. It was super fulfilling, helping out families, getting them into homes. But now my new journey is gonna be a whole entire system where I'm gonna 10x what I did last year. I wanna make $5 million within my next couple of years. And the way I'm gonna do that is expanding my business by going on social media, making videos, getting a team together. Everything I've done over the past 3 years, it's led me to this moment to where now I can give back to everybody else. I can show brand new agents or agents that are struggling right now that have been in the business for a while that can't break certain milestones. Maybe you're stuck at 50 grand. Maybe you're stuck at 100 grand. Maybe you're stuck at 300 grand and you can't pass that. Well, that's where I want to help. I want to give back and show all of these other agents now that are struggling that there is a different way. There is a path to success. And it doesn't have to take you 10, 20 years to do it. I'm a living testament to extreme success extremely fast. And the way I did it was motivation, hard work, dedication, and working smart. It's never too late to change careers. I was 32 years old when I decided to get my real estate license. I had goofed around a lot in my 20s. Yes, I did run my own businesses. And yes, I was making six figures, not that much, remember, only about 150 a year, but I wasn't living up to my maximum potential. It really took me moving to a different state, meeting a special somebody, and finding the motivation to really get to the next stage and the next level in my life. Starting real estate was the best thing that ever happened to my life. It's led me to all these great, amazing things and opportunities that I'm about to experience right now, that I have experienced. So if you guys are thinking that you want to change careers, you don't like your 9-to-5 job, you don't like whatever career you're in now, it's never too late. You could always start. If you guys have any questions at all, follow me on Instagram. You can reach out to me. My email and my IG is down in the description below. I really hope everybody liked this video. So if you liked it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon for notifications. I'm going to be dropping 3 videos a week, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll catch everybody in the next one. All right, that was pretty good.